get into the art of Christian education, into the act of that, and then lastly to allow them to engage in that. And so this is a process that we will be continually in, that we are not ever really truly complete, but we are constantly fine-tuning and evaluating. There are a couple of items in particular I want to put in front of you this morning that Christian education has currently on its plate. The first is that we have been looking at combining 2 camps with Western Yearly Meeting. I should probably explain that we currently enjoy a partnership with Western Yearly Meeting with our older age group camps, and that exists with our junior high camp as well as 2 of our senior high camps. And we have enjoyed that partnership, and there seems to be a good ability to be able to put those camps together. Western Yearly Meeting has had 2 camps where the attendance in them is not as strong, and as they've been looking at how they want to address that issue, they have proposed to us that we combine those 2 younger age camps that they have with our 2 younger age group camps. The camps that I'm talking about from Western Yearly Meeting are their Pioneer Camp and their George Fox Camp. Those we are looking at combining with our 2 younger age group camps. They are known in our yearly meeting as Junior Camp and Kids Camp. Not to be confused with a camp that we already do with Western Junior High Camp, but that we're looking at combining those 2. And we have been meeting. There have been several meetings that have been happening. One joint meeting with Western Yearly Meeting, as well as a called meeting for Christian Ed looking specifically at this task. We believe that we can see where everything is lining up, the programming, the theologies, the responsibilities, the deadlines, the publications. So we see this working together, and we see that working together in a good partnership. And so I guess that we would probably need this as an action committee or an action item for you to approve, that we would proceed forward with the combining of those 2 younger age group camps. Those camps again being Junior Camp and Kids Camp. This has been approved already by Western Yearly Meeting's Administrative Council, which is much like the gathering, the body that's gathered in Muncie this morning. And I would also let you know that I think that the Quaker Haven Camp Board has approved this, and so they already have those weeks kind of proposed where they would be combined. I believe that one of them would fall at the end of June, and the next camp would fall in July, and so that would free up some space at Quaker Haven. That would allow them to be a little bit better stewards with it. With that ground, allowing that to be rented out for groups that have been inquiring and would like to come in. So that might help Quaker Haven a little bit financially as well. So we see that combining those camps as being a prudent move, and we want to move forward with that. The next item that we've been working on is that we have been trying to gather or put together events for kids that don't belong to a youth group or to a student ministry in their home church. Having grown up in a number of different meetings within our yearly meeting, a pastor had spoken about this a little bit this summer, saying that we have a number of kids that kind of fall between the cracks. They come to camp every year, they plug in, they do an excellent job, and then they just kind of disappear off the radar back to their home meetings. And so we've been looking at what we can do to address that. Are there events that we can put together? If so, what resources do we have for that, and how can we get those kids to plug in? And not that it's necessarily just for those kids. We would also include other youth ministries to come and be a part of that, to help encourage those kids, to show them places where they might be able to plug in if they so wish. And so we've been working with that. And then lastly, we've been working with an event called Youth Specialties. This is an item that I authored a number of years ago, working with the Youth Workers Scholarship. We have several that are attending Nashville, a conference next weekend in Nashville that is Youth Specialties. Those individuals include Gary Breedlove from Marion First Friends, Aaron Hughes from our yearly meeting office, as well as Wes and Kaylee Dicken from Spiceland, Adam and Sarah Van Dam from Sycamore Friends, Drew Drage from Lynn Friends, as well as Abby Walker from here at Amboy Friends. And I will be attending this as well because of a resignation of a youth pastor. There's a slot that was available. And our local church said, wow, an opportunity to let you go someplace. Maybe we shouldn't pass that up at any rate. So I will be on the trip. You might be in prayer for those on the trip, that they have to endure an older pastor being with them, or maybe you need to pray for the older pastor. I'm not really sure who needs prayer in that, but they would welcome your prayers in travel and in safety. And we would just ask that we pray specifically that the Lord would pour a fresh and He would refresh those who go on the trip and help to renew them and rekindle their passion for Christ. And really, that's all I have for you at this point from the point of Christian education. We are engaged in those 4 tiers as we talked about earlier, but also I would say that we are engaged or called to care for and cultivate those whom we feel as though we're responsible for. That Christ showed us that. And perhaps it's a little bit more of the farmer mentality in me. I've always thought of cultivating being something that you use a tool and you go out and you do that in a field, and you do that with many, many, many plants that you cultivate. But when it comes to care, that is care that you invest in a specific plant, that you work with that. Christ certainly modeled that for us, and we see that, and that's what we as a Christian Education Committee are engaged in as well. We want to care for those involved with our camping ministry. We want to help with Christian education on the monthly meeting level with many different monthly meetings. We want to be engaged with that. But at the same time, we want to care for individuals. We want to care for the students who don't have a home youth group, who may not have a student ministry someplace else. We want to care for those that have those kinds of needs. And so we are engaged in that. We want to continually see where Christ is calling us to care for and cultivate others. And so that is our prayer, and we would ask that you would continue to pray for us as a committee, that the Lord would lead us in that direction. So reporting from the North Bureau here in Amboy, Indiana, signing off for Indiana Yearly Meeting TV. This is Dwight Elliott, and I submit this report for your approval, pending any advices, suggestions, or queries.